Good morning, Madam Chairman. My name is Lucinda Mobius, and I have been a teacher for 12 years. I have spent the past 6 years studying technology and education. Both my master's and doctoral studies involve the use of technology. I love technology. It is a great resource in the classroom. I have researched the one-to-one laptop program and discovered these programs are not a responsible use of the constituents' funds. The initial expense of providing laptops is astronomical. In addition, funds need to be established for IT support, software purchase, replacement of broken or virus-ridden equipment, and updates every 2 to 3 years. Also, if the intent is to provide computers for students so they can work at home, who is going to pick up the internet service bill? And how are we going to monitor appropriate use of the computers at home? Students today are very computer savvy, and they know how to get around firewalls and parental controls. My nephews were able to do this at 5 and 7 years old. My research shows many states have abandoned their one-to-one laptop programs. If the intent is to provide students with access to technology, schools would be better served by installing interactive whiteboards and a bank of computers in the classroom. This way, computers use can be monitored by teachers and used as a resource to assist learning. I would also like to address the plan for merit pay. Over the years, my salary has been frozen, cut, and now threatened with the concept of merit pay. Merit pay is based on substandard standardized tests. The testing system is flawed on many levels, and basing teachers' pay on this flawed system is not only unrealistic, but it's unconscionable. Substandard standardized test is based on the memorization and regurgitation method of assessment. In order for assessment to be valid, it needs to be authentic. Authentic assessment is described as taking a photo album view of learning as opposed to the snapshot view we see today.
1 minute, please.
Okay. Teachers work hard to teach every student, the learning disabled, the accelerated learner, the can't learn, the won't learn, the rich, the poor, the in-betweens. We look for signs of abuse. We wonder if they've had breakfast in the morning or lunch in the afternoon or a roof over their head. Computers can't do this. Now we see our paycheck shrinking. We wonder if we will be able to keep a roof over our heads and if we can sign our children up for free and reduced lunch. Taking money from education hurts children. The textbooks in my classroom are out of date. Desks are so old and poorly made they are literally falling apart around my students. The substandard standardized test does not assess curriculum standards. We need to provide our children with what they need. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Stephen?
My name is Stephen Adams. I'm from Sugar City. I'm a past president of the Idaho Charter School Network and a past director of Charter Virtual and Home Education for the Florida Department of Education. I currently oversee online course improvement for BYU Idaho. My graduate work is in history and philosophy of education. I also have a graduate certification in education policy. Most approaches to education have a place in helping students learn. Your challenge is to provide funding in a way that supports a diversity of quality options for educators, students, and families. Most teacher education only provides training for one system of education. It is easy to understand why good educators may be uncomfortable with the new approach. However, online education does work. U.S. Department of Education meta-analysis of 51 reputable studies showed that on average, students in online learning did not only do as well, but they did better than students in traditional settings. It also showed that blended approaches are even more successful, and that online learning works in multiple subject matters and in multiple methodological approaches. Smaller class size, in contrast, is one of the least cost-effective ways to improve student learning. Online learning does work, and students will choose to participate if quality options are provided. Because of the proven quality of online learning and the cost advantages, students will need to be familiar and comfortable with online learning for future academic and professional success. We need to allow options that meet basic public goals in education and provide adequate and equitable funding for those options. To accomplish this, we need clear accountability for all public schools and simple funding models consistent with the diversity of options being provided. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Captain John Stinnett, Karen Rue, Megan Ridley, Rick Checketts, Lorna Finman, Lori Langdon. Thank you, Captain. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, committee members. My name is John Stinnett. I'm the captain of the Salvation Army in Boise, and the Treasure Valley is my home. I'm here today because I'm concerned about the cuts that happened to education last year and the possible cuts this year. The Salvation Army runs the Marion Pritchett School for Pregnant and Parenting Teens. We have been running this successfully in partnership with the Boise School District and also with the state for over 40 years. The success rate of the school is tremendous, 85 to 90%, and it's a wonderful private-public partnership. But because of the funding cuts, our future is uncertain. Last year, our funding from the state was cut to zero. That was a 100% cut. We were able to survive because of the Boise School District stepping in temporarily. But future cuts could eliminate our school. We want to continue this partnership, but $0 is not a partnership. And so we would just encourage you to please keep us in mind, help us to help you educate our most vulnerable students who also happen to be parents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Karen?
Madam Co-Chair, Mr. Co-Chair, Senators and Representatives, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Corinne Rue, and I'm an American government teacher at Bora High School. Today I would like to speak specifically on Mr. Luna's proposal to purchase laptop computers and require online courses. Mr. Luna's plan requires or proposes that this body spend $4.7 million a year for the next 5 years to purchase laptop computers, as well as an additional $800,000 a year for teacher training. Not to mention the estimated $90 million it will take this state for the upkeep, internet access, firewall protection, damage repair, and replacement costs. This program is looking to cost us close to $96 million. Not only is this a poor spending choice, it takes students out of classrooms with qualified teachers and puts them in a world of virtual education to fend for themselves. Mr. Luna said we are teaching 21st century kids in a 20th century world. He could not be more wrong. It is not our students who need to be brought into the 21st century classroom. It is our decision makers, our teachers, and our community. The truth is, many schools and districts across the state already provide access to a variety of technology in the classroom. In my school alone, students have access to programs like Naviance, SchoolFusion, Turnitin.com, Infinite Campus, Play-Doh, numerous library databases, as well as the Idaho Digital Learning Academy. These programs allow students to prepare for college, participate in out-of-class discussions, print assignments, check grades, and get assistance in creating authentic academic writing. The difference between Mr. Luna's plan and what we have in schools now is the daily interaction and contact students have with teachers using these programs together. If class sizes will rise, spend the money to ensure that a computer lab will hold 35 or 40 students, because that is the reality of class sizes in larger school districts. Spend the money to install smart boards and projectors in the classroom. Spend the money so all districts can provide enriching technology programs like the one I mentioned if they don't already have access. Spend the money to bring technology up to date. And lastly, spend the money on teachers who will be working alongside with these students, helping to provide a richer education in the walls of our buildings so that they will be prepared when they leave. Ask yourself these questions. How will Idaho students compete in the admissions process to attend schools like Stanford or MIT if their education is done partially online? Most of these colleges won't accept these courses. How will student athletes from Idaho benefit from scholarships if their credits don't make them eligible to play? How will we make up for additional spending if students must retake courses? At my school alone, the failure rate is between 30% and 40% for students who take online classes. How much extra money will we be spending for these students? Do you really want to be spending this money on a program that takes teachers away from kids? And do you really believe that a teacher possibly 1,000 miles away has the same impact as a teacher right in front of a student?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Megan?
Hello, Madam Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Megan Ridley, and I'm here as a lifelong citizen of Idaho, a product of its public schools, kindergarten through my master's degree, as well as a 6-year special education teacher. It's no secret that the cuts to the education budget in Idaho over the last couple of years have, for lack of a better term, left a mark. They've left a mark on the opportunities of our students. They've left a mark on the spirits of our educators. In ways we will never be able to measure, these cuts have changed the face of our state. And as these effects continue to settle in, we come together to face another trying economic year. However, rather than bring all the stakeholders of our educational community together to problem solve the unique challenges ahead, Superintendent Luna has elected to forge ahead with a plan that replaces teachers with laptops, misconstrues class sizes, and partly bases teacher pay on standardized tests. When it comes to student achievement and teacher effectiveness, it is difficult to define in adequate fashion. It involves a plethora of measures, but I would certainly question whether one of those measures should be a one-time score on a standardized test. Some of the greatest individuals I've ever known are those educators that work with struggling students. From a remedial math class to special education to Title I, I know teachers that work both relentlessly and passionately in the name of student learning. In fact, this describes the majority of educators I know. And I promise you, their effectiveness and impact when it comes to their students is essentially immeasurable. However, Luna's plan doesn't make mention of this qualitative essence of education. Rather, he quantifies it and defines student achievement as well as teacher effectiveness through a simple score on one standardized test. In my 6 years as a special education teacher, I've watched our system of public education require my students, special education students,
1 minute, please,
to take their grade level ISAT test, despite the fact that they have documented disabilities that place them years below their grade level peers. Literally, they are tested on material they haven't been taught. How can this be an accurate measure of anything, let alone whether or not the teacher in the classroom is effective? Please don't tell me you plan to fix the financial problems facing our system by further limiting our workforce, increasing the number of students in classrooms, and basing teacher pay on inappropriate measures of effectiveness. No increase in technology could make up for the damage this would surely cause. And when this hearing is over and you are contemplating the options for the financial future in education in Idaho, please ask yourself this question. Could it possibly be that the thousands of educators across this state are wrong about the needs of the system they've studied for, worked in, and dedicated their professional lives to? I think not. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Checketts?
Madam Chairman, committee members, thank you for the privilege of being able to speak to you on the proposal Mr. Luna has made. But first, I'd like to tell you a little about myself. I'm a father, grandfather, and a great-grandfather. And for the past 30 years, I've been involved in the school district, both as a school resource officer and a substitute teacher. Mr. Luna has proposed that we put our children first. I agree with that. But how can we if we increase the class size? If we do this, we will continue to lose contact on a one-on-one basis with the students. He states that there is not one statistic to prove that more students in a classroom hurts their education. And it will save millions of dollars by cutting down on the number of teachers. I feel that to increase the size of the classroom will cause more dropouts due to the lack of teachers not having time to help each student when they are having a problem, and when they get behind, they get discouraged and they quit. If you ask any teacher about class size, they will tell you the smaller the class size, the more time they can give to each student. Over the years, observing the teachers in our schools, I've found that most of them who have continuing contracts in the district are staying in our district, not because of the monies, but because they are interested in the kids or children, smaller schools, and smaller class sizes. They use their own monies for supplies when the budget runs out of money, and they love what they accomplish with the children. Our teachers are more deserving. I again would like to address the other subject of laptop computers for each student that become high school freshmen. The first thing that came to mind was the cost.
1 minute, sir.
Yes. The second thing, accountability, and the next upgrades and repairs. All of these costs, and they are not cheap. Mr. Luna stated they would be paid for with existing funds. Who would have furnished these items Who would furnish these items, and who are they? I have no problem with computer technology. I watch my son and grandson grow with the computers in the schools. They are a good tool in furthering their education. The schools have computers in the schools they can use. Our schools offering the advanced courses, they don't need extra courses, and the cost is not justified. In closing, we are having budget problems in all the school districts. We always will with our state growth. Until the legislature comes up with a plan to help our school districts with their budgets, we don't need to start experimenting with Idaho's education system.
Thank you, Mr. Checketts.
Thank you.